Ladies and gentlemen, in line with the theme of this year's celebration, Choose to Challenge, I would like to reinforce the International Women's Day message. A challenge word is an alert word. Individually, we are all responsible for our own thoughts and actions, all day and every day. We can all choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequality. We can all choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. Collectively also, we can all help to create an inclusive world. From challenge comes change. So let us all choose to challenge. Going forward, I would also like to affirm that CWG is committed to promoting the progress and achievements of women in Africa. I'm also excited to note that this year's commemoration has been designed as a virtual forum which will foster discussion that challenge the status quo and at the same time strengthen female gender advocacy. I'm delighted to see women breaking new ground and moving past barriers in different industries and organizations in the world today. As we celebrate this year's International Women's Day, let us renew our effort for a better world while working together to achieve greater gender equality and equity. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a happy International Women's Day.
Can y'all please give me a round of applause? I think my video is on now. Yes. Sorry about that. Hi, and I'm officially welcoming you in case you missed it. My name is Gloria again. But please, can we give another round of applause for our MD/CEO of CWG, Mr. Wale Adepo. That was really beautiful and phenomenal. All right, so without further ado, I will be introducing our keynote speaker. She's a committed humanist. She's the president of Women in Africa Initiative, which is actually the foremost platform that's been helping organize the continent's leading women into a force for sustainable development. She's a former member of the Ogun State Cabinet, where as the special advisor on MDGs, she pioneered the use of mobile phones to deliver cash grants to poor pregnant women in order to ensure their access to antenatal delivery and postnatal care. And as the special advisor on trade and investment for a state that is the industrial hub of Nigeria, she's working on programs to ensure inclusive growth to address high youth unemployment. She also serves as a counselor of the World Future Council, a global entity that identifies, analyzes, and spreads policies that contribute to sustainable development. AFSAT definitely believes that our world needs more than a few exemplary women leaders. And through her nonprofit in Nigeria, known as KIND, and Women in Africa, she's building that groundswell, developing a rising generation of women leaders across Africa. And she's committed to moving the continent from crisis to prosperity. The beautiful thing about Hafsa that I actually personally admire is the fact that, she's gone beyond, she's taking democracy to another level and is helping inspire women everywhere. And through her humanitarian work, she's definitely been able to help put Africa on the map. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm round of applause for Hafsat Abiola Costello. Welcome, Hafsat. We're just going to wait a couple of seconds, maybe minutes, but she'll be with us. She'll be joining us shortly. So we're just going to play a short video while we wait for her. Thank you all for your patience.
A woman who knows what she wants and goes after it. A woman who sees working hard as a habit, a serious kind of fun. A woman who gets self-satisfaction from pushing herself to the limit, knowing that all her effort is going to pay off, and it does. It's a beautiful thing when a career and a passion come together. This is a secret to success. So, own it. Dream big. Be fearless. Stay focused and make it happen. There's something about a woman who knows what she wants and goes after it. A woman who sees working hard as a habit, a serious kind of fun. A woman who gets self-satisfaction from pushing herself to the limit, knowing that all her effort is going to pay off, and it does. It's a beautiful thing when a career and a passion come together. This is a secret to success. So, own it. Dream big. Be fearless. Stay focused and make it happen.
Guys, see, here's the thing, right? And this is why I'm glad we're having this panel. Obviously, this is virtual. This time last year, I think, yeah, this time last year, the world hadn't been forced, to this virtual mode of doing things. So naturally, we'll have some tech issues, we'll have some things happening, but the goal is to make it as fun and as engaging as possible. Right now, we're still waiting on Hafsat. So because we're I'm going to be very respectful of your time. We'll just move on to to somebody else. Maybe we'll start the panel session, and then at some point, hopefully, she joins us. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Because if you're not, we're not moving forward. If you are not okay, we're not moving forward because we're here because of you, obviously. But I do want to say kudos to CWG for that video. Did y'all notice what was the one thing we all noticed in that video? What was the common factor, the common denominator? Does anybody want a recharge card? Who is going to answer me? What was the common denominator in that video? I'm looking at the chats. Ooh, somebody said the ladies were fierce.
They were all women.
Oh, somebody give that lady a bottle of Maltina for me, please. Thank you. No, we're not drinking alcohol, not anytime soon anyway. But yeah, all women.
Yeah.
And you saw the fierceness. And another thing I noticed, CWG, please don't fight me. I'm just, it's just my observation. Of course, they were very beautiful. Thank you, Sholakbe. I'm liking all these adjectives I'm hearing. But one thing I also noticed, these are women that you can tell, these ones are just starting. Like, obviously, they've had their experiences in the past, but you can just tell that the future is super bright and they're super determined. Yes, we love them too, Stego. Thank you so much for that love. Very beautiful women and so well put together, courtesy of CWG. And as we know, it's one thing to be beautiful on the outside, as they've obviously expressed, but the ability to go farther, get that beauty from the inside and also be able to translate that professionally and let you know that, hey, yes, you're a woman, but there is absolutely nothing you cannot do. And to all our gentlemen in the house, you're not left out of this party. We're celebrating you too. Yes, even in your own, please, can my men please give me some, can I hear my men? Can I hear the men? chats. Can I see you in the chats? We need to know that the men are here to represent them, because the truth is, yes, you're our allies. We appreciate you so much. So this event is also for you. It'll also show you the extent that a woman can do, and please keep cheering us on. So we're just gonna go on and have our panel session. Can I get a go ahead? We're good to go on. Okay. I see some of our panelists are already here. I saw, of course, Auntie Betty is here. Sholakwe, I saw your shout out. I think I saw Kate earlier in the chat. I know Folusha is in here. I'm pretty sure I saw her. So we're just gonna go on and start. And I will, okay, so I'm gonna basically ask you, because, just for us to respect time, we're gonna try to keep this under about 25 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes max. And, I'm gonna direct a question. Sometimes I may direct a question to one or two panelists. Please feel free to jump in if you have any, as I like to call it, tukobo that you'd like to add to it. So the more the merrier. All right, so I have a couple of questions here for our panelists. Can anybody please remind me from the audience what the theme of this event is? I just want to make sure we're all here. What is the theme of this event? Choose the challenge. Thank you. Okay, everybody's with me. I like that, and I definitely appreciate it. So we're definitely going to be, for this first round, we're going to be looking at how to break new frontiers in the new normal. Of course, we know the new normal, as I stated this time last year, did we know we'll be doing this? We would have definitely, been somewhere in some, at some event center somewhere, meeting and doing this. But the advantage of this is that we can transmit from practically everywhere in the world. So we will make this work, and it's going to be fabulous. Folusha, can I hear from Folusha, please?
Hi there. Good
Hi.
morning. Good morning, beautiful
Hi.
ladies. Happy International Women's Day. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Felicia.
Good
Hi,
to see you
Auntie Betty.
again.
Good morning. You look fabulous. I love your glasses. Sorry to digress, but those glasses, I have to hail those.
Got to raise our hands just for the glasses. Olaumi, I see you. Hi.
Yeah.
A lot of our panelists have glasses on. This is serious, so I need to go grab my own.
I was also wondering why all of us on glasses.
Okay, it's a very serious session. That's what it means. You all look really good. So Felucia, the COVID-19 pandemic, as we all know, came as a shock. None of us saw it coming. A lot of organizations had to go back to the drawing board. They had to re-strategize on plans, devise ways to ensure that they were still being productive and relevant. As far as your organization is concerned, how has this affected you? How has this affected your industry? And how have you been able to overcome it?
All right. Okay. So first of all, thank you to CWG for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. So the COVID-19 pandemic, came as a rude shock to everybody, obviously. And I guess 2021 is when we're all kind of really adjusted-ish to this new normal that we kept talking about throughout last year. Last year was really, really something else. So I'm a tech person, I'm a tech professional. And so for me, I had already been advocating, guys, let's do more of online meetings. Let's do less of these physical ones and all that. So if I'm being very honest with you, the silver lining for me was the fact that all these things that we've kind of been trying to get, a lot of people to do now started to happen. And the benefit of that is that we then spend less time in traffic. We spend less time having to do things that we don't necessarily have to do physically, because we've actually been able to move a lot of, our meetings and a lot of things that we do online. Now, that being said, the downside obviously is that a lot of things cannot be moved online, right? So I currently work for an organization that runs programs to empower Nigerian youth. And we have to reach the youth, and a lot of those youth do not have access to internet. They don't have access to devices. But guess what? We have to to reach them because that is our mandate. And so for us, we've been extremely creative. We've done everything from, fully virtual, great organizations, partnering with us and giving us devices for the students, giving us, internet as well, to running hybrid programs as well, right? So being able to do a blend of both. Because what then happened, especially in the education sector, was that the middle to higher income children were very fine. They all transitioned to online school, not seamlessly, it was a bit difficult, but they did. But the lower income children were really, really suffering, So we've actually had to do quite a lot of creativity. So we have to put on our creative hat, which really is a skill in the future, right? So I think one of the greatest skills for the future of work is creativity. Let's teach our children, let's talk to our youth about it, because you have to just be able to be flexible and figure out how to make things work regardless of, what it is that is going on around you. So I think for us, it's really just being innovative, being creative, and trying to figure out the best way to run a blend of working and running our programs during the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, Folusha is a business and tech professional. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Wimbies. She's an executive council member of Wimbies, and she's actually on the board of directors of Swift Networks, Kuda Bank, advisory board of school media. Extremely active and has definitely done her thing, even in the tech space, and that's why for people like you, I wonder, like, the fact that you're able to. I mean, you obviously had seen it coming. So for you, adapting may have been a whole lot more seamless than it's been for a lot of other people.
Half and half.
Half and half.
It's because of infrastructure issues, but yeah, half and half.
It comes with its challenges.
Yes,
yeah.
It certainly does.
Okay. Another person I would like to ask, as far as how you were able to adapt, is another person I would like to ask is Sholakwe. How have you been able to adapt, with everything going on, to this new normal? You are a certified financial education instructor. By the way, Sholakwe is someone who is tagged, she's self-tagged as a financial feminist.
That's right.
With exclamation points. And she owns it proudly with her full chest. And I absolutely can understand why. She's the founder of Harvest, a women-focused, easy-to-use financial tech inclusion platform that enables women to participate in savings, impact investments, credits, and even for smallholder women farmers in Nigeria. We definitely appreciate what you're doing. But how have you been able to adapt? This time last year was a different conversation. How have you been able to adapt? What is it looking like in 2021 for you?
All right, thank you so much, Gloria. And I'd like to say a special thank you to CWG for putting this together, and of course, a big shout out to my other beautiful panelists. Someone mentioned that we have a golden thread, which is the glasses. Incidentally, I'm going to, the optician right after this meeting. So maybe it's from a lot of learning, let's just think about that. Like we literally burned the midnight candle. Yeah, so how have we been able to adapt? I would say that for us, we launched right in the middle of the pandemic itself, right? And I think that's like the probably might be the most audacious thing would ever do, because at a point we were considering really like, should we wait? But then we felt like if we don't do it now, then when will we do it? I'll say that for us, launching in itself is one of our, not knee-jerk, we're going to launch, we've been building, but it's one of the best way we adapted. How, you might ask? Because it's made us move, it's an action, it's an indication of moving from intent to impact, right? So, and I think that's one of the things that we should look more into as we move on. Advocacy is beautiful, but we believe that, we have to, how do I say this? Someone's got to start it, someone's got to encourage it. And that was exactly what we did. So in moving from intent to impact, what we did was, established Harvest, which by the way is filling the financial gender gap as it is in Nigeria. before we started, we had done a lot of research, tons of research, and it felt like a lot of statistics were out there, and we're wondering, okay, so what happens from, from here? So harvest is our own adaptation. Harvest is our own reaction to what was happening, because right in the middle of the pandemic, yes, it affected everybody. It affected the entire human race. But even beyond that, it affected women and girls more. You might want to ask how. Unpaid care, as we know it, is nobody pays attention to that. It is what it is. Personally, I struggled, and that's why I can relate with what I think was Felicia mentioned before, right? That, okay, yes, we have to change to Zoom classes and all of that, but then we struggled, the kids having to attend to it. But yes, I have a supportive partner. I won't even take that away. But primarily, we still see women as the primary caregivers. Okay, so all of these things are things that we address, and we knew that, okay, financial services, as in having more women participate in financial services, is not enough if we don't address the underlying issues like unpaid care, getting support in the home, issues like girls out of school. Because if you have girls out of school, for instance, for every girl that is out of school, I think it's a UNDP statistics that said that it reduces their earning by 14%. So what it did was we went all the way down. That is not enough for us to be fancy and say, yes, we've got a mobile application, women can save, but we went even into the future we want to see. And we started addressing even deeper issues, right? That is unpaid care, that is girls out of school, that is the many unconscious biases holding women back, because you realize that, in our society, a lot of people still treat money as a male matter. Like, okay, we just have gender roles, men bring the money, I support. So we're saying that all of these things, if we want to see a blended society where there are no gender roles, where it is, gender equal, we have to look at all these many issues. And that's why we have a lot of conversations around this, just so that we can bridge that financial gender gap eventually.
Thank you, Charlotte. I definitely appreciate this. I'm going to switch. Oh, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
No, I was just applauding, Charlotte.
Thank you, because I'm coming to you next.
Okay.
Auntie Betty, is Kate here? I'm pretty sure she's here. Can we hear from Kate, please?
Hi there, I'm here.
Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm going to do a quick introduction of both Kate and Auntie Betty, who happen to be, for the most part in the same industry. No, they do. Okay. Do you want to help me? Said they don't need introductions, but we still gotta give. I still have to give honor to whom honor is due. She understand, yeah. But obviously, like Sholape has said, these are women who do not need any more introduction. I mean, as far back as a lot of us, as far back as our memories go, they've been in the picture. And thankfully, they're still doing their thing. And I'm very excited that they're here to actually share some great insights with us. As we know, Kate is a multi-award winning actress. Please give it up for Kate. She's a philanthropist. She's a mom. She's a global speaker. Please don't ask me how she does it all, because I do not know. She's actually been doing her thing. Her film career spans over 27 years. 350 titles in her repertoire. Kate has been honored as an ambassador for many humanitarian projects. She's passionate about female empowerment. She's passionate about women's health. Kate has tons of videos out there. If you haven't seen it, she's a fitness guru. When I tell you that Kate will make you feel like you ain't doing nothing. Like Kate, that woman, man, Kate stays on the move. She's worked with a national cervical cancer prevention program in conjunction with Optimal Cancer Care for Nigeria. Also proud to be an ambassador for Project Alert. So there are a lot of things she does in addition to being such a talented actress and, a fitness guru. Kate, we definitely appreciate your being here.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. That intro was hot. Thank you.
It was hot, Abby. I can't keep going about it.
Oh, I heated. Thank you, everyone. Good morning.
We would like to see your face, but You're
Oh.
incognito.
Here I am.
There
Just
you go. Woo-hoo! Looking fabulous. You got on glasses too. I should have guessed.
see, old age has come. We cannot hide
No,
it.
it's not.
Can't hide it. We take
See,
it
everybody's
gracefully.
yes,
Take it
everybody's
gracefully.
excited. You look
Everybody
good.
will go blind at some point. Yes.
No, but the chats blew up once you revealed yourself. They were like, "Oh, it's really Kate." Okay, now they believe it's you. See, we didn't make it
Hello,
up.
everyone. I can see the excitement. God bless you all.
Oh, and now to Auntie Betty. Betty Rabo has been celebrated widely, not just nationally. She's been celebrated globally. She's been featured on Entrepreneurial Edge on CNBC, Forbes Woman, Africa's Against All Odds. She's been on BBC. This woman is a pioneer in every sense of the word. When I tell you, obviously you hear Betty Rabo, like Shulape said, no introduction needed. We know she's been a major player in the Nigeria publishing industry for over 15 years. Over 15 years. Has anybody heard of Genevieve Magazine? Okay, I see comments. My favorite magazine. Oh yes, obviously we all know Genevieve Magazine. And Betty, the beautiful thing about Betty's story is that she's gone beyond just being that publisher. She's not just behind the scenes, she's in the forefront, you know, fighting for women's rights, letting you know you can be okay. Yes, you may have those challenges mentally, you got this. Thank you so much for joining us, Betty.
Thank
So
you. My pleasure. Yes.
Maybe I should give you time to absorb all those facts about yourself. So I have a question for both you and Kate.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really curious, as far as the industries that you're in, or the industry that you're in, how have you been able to actually adapt? Are there things you wish you had, you know, when you look back, are there things you wish you had done differently? How has it been for you in your sector?
Please let Auntie Betty go first. I'm a junior girl.
So respectful.
Sorry, ma. Sorry, ma. Yes, ma.
Thank you, CWG, for this opportunity. And I'm always happy to connect with new women, powerful women, and all that. I started Genevieve when I was 46. I wasn't a spring chicken. And what happens when you start late and you have not upped your skill and you think, okay, let me just do this for the fun of it. I felt I could do Genevieve for 1 year and then go back to being normal. There was this hunger to do something. And I thought, let me produce a magazine. There wasn't any like that at that time to celebrate women, to empower them, to give them a voice through the magazine. But what I didn't reckon with was that there's so many things I not regret, but I wish I'd done. First and foremost, I wasn't a trained journalist. I read English at the University of Lagos, and I worked in the corporate sector for a while. So going into the magazine production was a deep dive, and it cost me so much. There were two main things that kept resurfacing, and it was like an attack on me. First was that ageist felt, Auntie Betty, why you starting Genevieve at 46? Why didn't you do it earlier? The second thing was trying to battle stereotypes, who said to me, what do you want? Women don't survive publishing. Why do you want to go into publishing? And both were major attack on me, because I found that throughout my journey, I was out there trying to prove that I could do this. And I had to fight many battles. So reinventing myself has also meant that I surround myself with very, very knowledgeable staff. You don't know it all, but it helps when you bring in people who really know it, from whom you can learn. And I know women do that a lot, but I don't want to be the smartest person in the room out of ego. So one way I was able to survive was the fact that I was surrounded with the best, the creative writer, the editor, the feature writers, and an editor. So that made it a bit easy for me. And because I started in a pretty much manual age, when this new normal came, I was a victim, big victim. I didn't know how to navigate that. But I'll say something. 2020 was for me what the doctor recommended. It was my best year. It was a year that I took a decision I should have taken like 5 years ago. I was running Genevieve magazine pretty much out of pocket. I was practically hemorrhaging and trying to keep it going. Years after we should have transitioned to the digital space. But March last year, before the lockdown, I said to myself, this is it. And I remember saying to myself that we are going to transition from hard copy to digital. And if it hadn't happened, if the pandemic hadn't happened, I would still be hoping that some miracle would happen, that maybe one global magazine would buy into us and all that. So as I shut the door on the 17th of March last year, I felt very liberated because it also meant I could transition into this new space, the tech world, being able to do Zoom and the rest. So it was for me a very, very decisive year. It was a year made for me because I was too concerned about what would people say if I shut down, because I'd been that person preaching, you can do it, don't quit. And I felt like I was quitting. But I realized that you shouldn't run a business. When something is dead, then don't bury it. And the digital copy had been dead for a while. I just needed to bury it. And on the 17th of March, I did just that. Now I'm reinventing myself. I'm loving the space. And reinventing myself is what I do best at every age. Now at 64, I say these are the best years of my life. And I really, really am enjoying this new normal and adapting very well.
Wow. Give it up for Auntie Betty. A lot of people are saying, thank you. I want to look like you when I'm 64. Oh, thank you. That was actually really, really beautiful and well said. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Dr. Oni?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Dr. Oni with the glasses. Everybody. Yes, I have a question for you, but before I do that, I'd like to, before I ask the question, I'd like to let everybody know that Dr. Olaomi Oni-Buraimo is a senior lecturer in the Department of English, Faculty of Arts, Lagos State University. She's written papers, not only in local journals, but also in international journals on sexuality discourse, youth studies, and even popular culture. She's attended several conferences in Nigeria, Europe, North America. I mean, this woman travels. And what I actually find very interesting and fascinating is the fact that you actually have some media experience as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have to be on. Don't come and collect my work, oh, Dr. Oni. Please, oh. Don't take my bread from the table from me. But I do appreciate you joining us. So, now we've talked about the challenges and the ability to evolve. You know, like Ms. Betty said, last year was, it could have been really challenging, but it was one of her finest years. So as far as this pandemic is concerned, what new grounds or opportunities would you say actually opened up for you?
For me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, moderator. I also want to say a big thank you to CWG for putting this together. And one thing I appreciate about CWG is the aptness of their own sub-theme in line with the global theme. You know, you cannot challenge, you cannot raise challenge or challenge existing norms if you don't want to break barriers. So women and everyone would have to learn to break barriers, to break limits, just like Auntie Betty said, so that you can begin to challenge those existing stereotypes. Now, one fundamental question we need to ask ourselves: is COVID-19 the first pandemic of this nature? No. No, this is not the first time that we'll have a new normal. So it's not new. What we're talking about is not actually new, okay? But what we're saying is that we now need new devices to cope with this new one. If you remember the Spanish flu of over a century ago, all right, women were there to take up roles. They were not beggarly about their approach. They picked up roles that were not hitherto meant for them, okay, way back then. Not to talk of the Zika flu in 1952. All right, that was also a big one. In fact, it was thought that the Spanish flu was the pandemic that has never been seen in the whole world. But now look at what, so it's repeating itself. So there's nothing new actually about this COVID-19. It has happened before. Then you want to talk about Ebola, that happened in 1976 and now recurring 2014. And I hear it's still springing up in some parts of Africa. So these things, these viruses, these issues are not new, okay? What we now need as women is to take, like Auntie Betty said, be ready, be bold to take up new tasks, all right? As women, for being women in academics, now you're faced with a lot of digitization, just like Felicia mentioned. I know they are happy about this, okay? But it helps us too. Now your lectures would have to be hybrid in nature. By that, we mean that you can as well take physical lectures, but if you have over 300 students in the class, which is what obtains in most public institutions in Nigeria, that means at the tertiary institution level, we have, as a matter of urgency, devised methods to make our teaching to be hybrid in nature. Now, during the lockdown, most of us took our lectures through Zoom, through WhatsApp and all that. You know, everybody was just scrabbling to do something in a new way. So you can't afford to lag behind as a woman. You can't say, okay, I don't know about this, then you stop lectures. No, we have to up our games. We have to cope, to devise new strategies, okay, to fit into this period that we have found ourselves. And that's the way to go. So I really hope that the information that CWG provides in the microfinance sector, for banking and all of that, they would also reach out more to women in academics or schools. If you ask me, just like somebody mentioned, COVID-19 is actually a lot of gendered issues, all right? And we can't rule out the fact that the gendered base of this COVID-19 is undeniable. We can't rule that fact out. So women need support in every way. Everything that has to be digitized must go on to be digitized. So we all have to move. Some women who could not even operate their phones, Android phones, and who were selling things, okay, we're complaining. And I said, look, you don't need to open your shop, go online. Everything is online now. So we need more support for women to be able to cope with this period because it's not new, it has happened before. So what we need is to move on, get onto the task, and be ready to do new things.
That was powerful. Did y'all feel that?
So
She said you have to be ready. And the thing with me, I know they whine, no, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not talking. Like, I felt that, you know, we need to be ready to move.
Yeah.
You know, what else can you do, right? What else are you going to do? Please, I want you all to know you're very welcome to drop your opinions, your thoughts, and any question you have, because we'll be having a segment just for questions and answers. So this is your opportunity. I don't want you to leave and you be like, hey, I should have asked Folusha that question, or I should have asked Betty. Okay, just ask your questions, and our panelists are here and they'll be more than happy to see how they can get those questions answered. So I'm going to quickly go to Folusha and Sholakbe before I get to some questions that we may have in the house. And you can go in any order, doesn't matter. But the question is, what professional growth trend should be envisaged and how can one position for them?
Okay, let me go really quickly. I think that this so-called new normal, which is not really a new normal anymore, it's now just normal, has taken us global, right? So let's all think about it. I mean, I love what Auntie Betty said about how she essentially has transitioned her whole entire life, to the virtual life, she got on it. We have gone global. So many organizations that typically would have been operating within, whether just their city or just their country, have now had the opportunity to actually go global. Even as women, we've also gone global. So if you run a business here, if you're working for CWG full-time, but you have that, side business you are doing, you can also now go global. So I think that one huge thing that the pandemic has done is that it's taking us all global, even those in the education sector. So Doctor was just talking about, what has happened there. A lot of teachers are now teaching internationally. So they are teaching beyond, even just the shores of Nigeria. So I think the top skills for me, for this, for the future, let me just call it the future and not the new normal, is, like I said earlier, listen, innovation and creativity. But the beauty is this, we're all ladies here. Women are naturally innovative and creative. Mm-hmm. We are, we are nurturers, we are primary caregivers, all that stuff. So naturally we are. The thing is that we have to be intentional about taking what we do as caregivers, as women, into our work, into our businesses, into our careers. Mm-hmm. So innovation and creativity has never, ever been a problem for women. African women have been that since the beginning of time. So that's the one thing for me. The next most important thing is we have to be problem solvers, right? So one thing that the pandemic taught us was that there were so many problems that we all could see. Okay, so how do the kids go to school? So how do we continue to go to work? How do I continue to run my business? We saw people pivoting, We all saw how Too Sure all of a sudden came up. All of us have Too Sure sanitizer, right? I'm sure we've all seen Too Sure sanitizer. Too Sure sanitizer was made by a drinks company here in Nigeria who pivoted very quickly because they saw that we needed sanitizer and they already had a factory that was producing drinks. So they just said, you know what, let's pivot. So women, we can also pivot. I saw many women who pivoted into catering, pivoted into things that people needed during the lockdown because people needed food, people needed certain things. So, maybe if you were a dressmaker, but you also had a skill, in cooking, just quickly pivoted that, well, let me start making stew and jollof rice for people in my neighborhood. So I think that problem-solving thing is extremely important for us as women. Last but not the least is, listen, have a growth mindset. So we've experienced a pandemic now in our lifetime. We've seen it clearly. It has dealt with all of us. We have also learned that having a growth mindset is the most important thing in this world, because if your mindset is fixed, so for instance, if I use Auntie Betty, who is a perfect example, if she was fixed in her mind, I must run this magazine, this internet technology, I'm not interested in it, she will not be where she is today. So we have to always have a growth mindset. But once again, these are all skills that women have naturally. I think it's so amazing how, as African women especially, we have these skills naturally, but because sometimes of our conditioning and the way that we think or the way that we operate, we don't take those skills into our work, into our business, and into areas that we should. So I hope that, that we all continue to just realize that we really need to have a growth mindset constantly for us to be successful in all the different things that we're doing. So thank you. And go global, ladies, go global. Let that growth mindset continue to stretch you. All right, thanks.
All right. Yes, I'll just say that we should focus on not wasting this crisis. And because, Folusha had learned a lot, especially the mindset. So I'll just touch on that eventually. Hope I'm back. Am I back? Hi, Gloria. Can you hear me? You're back. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So we should see how we can build back better around these places. I think I'll talk a lot. I'll just re-echo the mindset, because if there's anything that had happened to me personally, I'm a testimony of what I'm saying. It is about being intentional of everything. You know, it's how being intentional can just rearrange your, you know, your life and you know, launch you like a cannonball into the future. You see that you need to see yourself. I'll give an example of a friend who I think was just last week that she picked, she got mailed an offer letter of a 6-figure job in San Francisco, right here in Lagos. It could even have been in Ibadan, it could have been in Igbora, it could have been in Kwayakusa, or, you know, any even rural community. But because it's got tech, it's got, you know, skills of the future, as we say, is ready, is leaning, she's leaning in, you know, these are things that before the pandemic started, one would probably think that, oh, for me to get such job, I need to get on a plane, I need to move to other continents. But right now, you know, they used to say that the world is a global village. I think that right now is a global, is a dot, right? It isn't a global village again, because, and so looking at this, we need to emphasize, especially women, right? We are, research and behavioral watch has shown that we like to, we sort of, what's the word now? We're sort of conservative with our skills. Let's put ourselves out there. Let's lean in, you know, let's lean in. Statistics show that a woman, when they do not have about 6, maybe there are 10 the boxes that they need to tick to apply for a job. Once they see that they don't make up about 5 of it, they just move on. While men, even if it is 2, they apply for it, right? It isn't, you know, a testosterone thing. We need to lean in more. We need to, yes, sharpen our skills. We're not saying that we are better all the time, but we need to identify our weaknesses, you know, strengthen them, and most importantly, build with an impact in mind. I don't know why, but I just feel like when you're doing with an impact at the other end, at the other end, eventually, you know, the people you're building for, they benefit for it, you benefit for it, and at the end of the day, that's how we can build better, you know, locally and globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Sholake.
Hi, Gloria, are you there?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can, but there's an echo.
I'm literally doing audio from another device. Please, yeah, but we're going to make this work. I insist.
It's
huh?
It's working.
Thank you. Felicia is like, this happened, girl, you got this. I see this every day. Thank you all. So, Hafsat is here. Hafsat, do you mind turning your video on, please? Sorry to put you on the spot. Our keynote speaker, Hafsat, is here. Hafsat Abiola Costello. I did a fantastic introduction earlier. I think everybody would think I'm being redundant if I repeat myself. But can we get the video again, just for, you know, those who missed it? Hafsat, can we hear from you, please?
Hello, Gloria. First of all,
hi.
Let me really apologize. I thought my sign-in was 11 a.m. I've not been doing anything here in Brussels. I've just been waiting. I thought I should have actually I wanted to sign in at 10 because I saw that the program is to start at 10, but I thought my keynote was 11. So then I was getting ready. You know how it is when you're getting ready. It often takes longer than you expect. Then as I was signing in, I got a call that Hafsat, they're waiting for you. I thought, how can they be waiting for me when I'm not supposed to be on yet? I am sincerely really apologetic. I don't know how
okay.
the 10 o'clock sign-in time. So it's a pleasure to be with all of you. I was listening to Shalakbe and what she was talking about, and I wish I could have listened to everything else that I missed, but I think I'll be able to stay for a while, and I can maybe listen to other speakers after. How long do I have?
How long do you need?
No, Chloe. Because if you give, I want to work within your program.
Oh, no, that's okay. Is 10 to 15 minutes fine?
Yes, I'll work
good.
with that, and then it's okay. So it's the theme is about choose to challenge and to break new frontiers. And I was listening to Shalakwe, and she was saying really lean in. But I want to talk about something else completely different. I know, and she's right, that the world is a dot now because we're so digitalized and, we can connect with pretty much every part of the world. But it still matters what part of the world you're from. It still has an impact on what you will accomplish because it's, how the continent is in the world, how it's positioned in the world, will inevitably have an impact on 1.2 billion people on the continent. And it will also have an impact on all African people outside. You can be really doing very well outside Africa, but if the continent isn't doing well, you're just not given the same regard and respect as your peers. So I want to talk about women choosing to challenge the size we're given when we're born and how we're socialized. I want us to choose to challenge and to take on a bigger size, not just because we think we're bigger, but I also think that the world and the continent needs us to be bigger. So when we're young and so I was raised, as many people may know, I was raised in the home of a very wealthy, successful businessman. And when you're raised in that kind of environment, some of your siblings will have it in their head that, we're made. I remember from the very beginning of, from my very young years, my parents, not my father, because my father didn't get involved in the nitty-gritty of child rearing. So my mom and aunties, everyone that were around, they'll say, don't carry your father's name or his position on your head, because you're going to have to go to your husband's house. And for that, you have to be very humble. I mean, they were always very keen to let me know that I have to keep to a certain size. And, there's always this issue for women that we have to stay humble, we have to stay modest, we have to stay even small. And I want us to challenge that. I want us to challenge that because I look at Nigeria today where we have 8% of women in the legislature, and we don't have equity in management executive positions also in the private sector. And there's also this general idea. I remember when I was working as a member of cabinet in Ogun State, and our first lady was often in the news because she was promoting a charity, doing a lot of work for indigent people. And one guy, the husband of one of the cabinet members, a friend of mine, told her husband said to her, "Why is your first lady always in the news? Is she the one we voted for?" Or something along these lines. So this idea that we should always be taking a back seat, that we should be seen but not heard. If we're going to be seen, we shouldn't be heard. And even better off, that we should not even be seen. I really think that we women need to begin to challenge that, and we need to begin to push against that, because it's not helping the country. Look at the way the country is, and maybe not just Nigeria, look at the way the whole continent is. There was a recent study by the UN by the UN Women. They did this study to try to assess progress 25 years after the Beijing conference. And in the study, they were saying, they were looking at the whole world and the progress that it has made on women's rights. And they said that for the continent of Africa, we've held our position from 25 years ago, or we've lost ground. So even though we think we're making progress because we have more girls getting educated, we have less people dying at childbirth, because of the rapid population growth on the continent, in a way, we're not really making progress quickly enough. And I think we're not going to make progress unless we women, especially women like us that are on this program, really understand that it depends on us to change the boundaries. We have to break the glass ceiling. We have to push the frontiers. And it's not going to make us popular. Nobody is popular doing that. Today, the whole world marks Martin and respects and honors Martin Luther King. And the United States has a day to remember him. But his daughter is always reminding us that when Martin Luther King was alive, he was vilified in the United States. He was one of the most hated men in America, especially by white America, but not exclusively by white America. Even Black people in America, a lot of moderate Black people were always critical of him. They criticized the approach he took. I went to, when I finished, I left Nigeria in my fifth form of high school. And I finished my high school in the United States, and I went to Harvard. The only reason I was able to go to Harvard, to go to a so-called white school, was because of Martin Luther King. If any of us listening to this has been able to benefit from being in the United States, we only were able to do that because of Martin Luther King. Because before that time, we would have been relegated to Black spaces, which were often under-resourced in the United States. And so today we're all honoring him and everybody's praising him. But then nobody, very few did. He had very few people that believed in what he was fighting for. I want to suggest to all of you, especially, I think it's mainly women. Is it, Gloria? I want to suggest to all the women listening that we may want to make that sacrifice for the future of our country. We may want to sacrifice our popularity. We may want to sacrifice our the way that, where people look at us, oh, she's a good girl, she's a good woman. And we have to take the battle to the people of our country. We need to do this. The whole country depends on it. This is a country on the very brink of an abyss. If it falls over on all of us. Look at the data. I want us to think about the data for a moment. 11 million children out of school. It's the highest number in the world. And it's the number of children out of school. It's not the total number of children that, because they were out of school and they've become adults, never got a decent education. Perhaps that number is 30 million. Maybe it's even more. We have 200 million people in the country today. We're expected to double population in 20 years. What's your sense about how well we're taking care of the 200 million? What's your sense about how well we will be able to take care of 400? We're there trying to please the husband, take care of the children. They're trying to, Your Excellency this, Your Excellency that, trying to work within our systems. I'm saying that we have to break through those systems. Those systems are not going to work as they're structured. We have to be willing to tell the governor, to tell the president, to tell whoever that you're getting it wrong. And when we say that, it means that maybe Gloria, maybe Felicia, maybe me, maybe we won't get that promotion, maybe we won't get appointed. We must be willing to make that sacrifice. If we keep aligning and keep pressing on these issues, the things that need to change, we may be sacrificed, but the future will be brighter. Our children will have better prospects. We would have fought for that. I know this for a fact because my mom fought for all of us to have a democratic Nigeria, my dad as well. I don't know that they knew that that was what they were going to be fighting for when they went in for an election. They probably just thought we're running in an election. We're going to run. My father thought he was going to run as a candidate. But when the military said, we do not accept the result, my father said to my mom that he couldn't face the military. He said, because it would be like a man standing in front of a moving train. But in the end, that's what he did. And when they put him in jail, my mom stood for him. She was not his only wife. There are several, but she was the one that stood, challenged the military in the most direct way. She was the one that sold property to finance the oil workers union strike so that they could have, they could go on strike and shut down the access to financing that the military was counting on. She did all of that and she lost her life for that. And that's difficult for me. You know, I would love to have my mom, you know, so that she can be a grandmom to my gentle children and she can help me through the things that go on in life for which you need somebody that you can count on 100%. She's not here. But my country has gained something. My country is better off. We're not run now by a madman that went crazy during the war. We're not run now by somebody who is directing all our money to Switzerland and Germany. There's still problems. And these problems, we're in a system that actually gives us more power to take them on without losing our lives. That's progress. I need us to start thinking about how we make progress on behalf of the future. We give birth to the future, but I want us to choose to challenge the narrative that all we're supposed to do is to give birth to the future and actually think that we are supposed to shape the future that the people we give birth to go into. That's our responsibility. I want us to take that responsibility in our private lives with our partners, make them do more around the house, not just get along with your in-laws. Meghan Markle has shown us gangster confidence and guts to take on a whole royal family and an establishment shaped by racism. We can do no less because who is Meghan? Who are we? We know that everything she has, we have at least as much. We have at least as much courage. We have at least as much training. We have at least as much guts. We should take on our families to make sure that they're women friendly, wife friendly, spouse friendly. Why? Even if we have to pay, our daughters will have less of a price. They will go into a more expansive space because we would have shaped the way that the world thinks of marriage and that they think of women in a marriage because of what we did. We shape and we do the same in our workplaces. When you're in the workplace, people are always asking you to play small games, do eye service, all of this. If you do that, know that your mind is a bandwidth. And if you use your mind to start doing all of these things, that's the mind that you don't have to allocate to real challenges, to facing real problems. And so you've sacrificed all the potential, all that you could have done to make a difference while you're schmoozing with this one, trying to social climb with that one. And at the end of the day, who will remember you? What impact would you have had? You certainly will not be like MLK. And I'm not saying that we should all be like MLK, but be more than what we've been told that we should be. We can be more and we need to be more. Make those companies work better. All our companies in Nigeria, especially the multinationals, always redirecting the money so that they don't pay enough taxes. They're not alone in Nigeria in doing that. They're doing it across Africa. The Soros Foundation did a report that shows that Africa is, when they looked at, I'm sure I've taken more than 15 minutes. I just take another 3 minutes. This is important. So Soros Foundation did a study and they looked at the world, Africa in relation to the world. And you know, there's a way that they treat us around the world as if we're beggars, right? So Soros Foundation was trying to ascertain to what degree are we beggars in Africa? To what degree is the world feeding us? So they looked at all the flow of wealth into Africa, from foreign direct investment to aid, everything, remittances. And then they looked at all the money that flows out of the continent. And they found that Africa powers the world to the tune of $50 billion per year. I want you to understand that figure I just said. 50 billion. Now, a lot of the time when we interact with the West, they talk to us about corruption. And when they they disaggregated that 50 billion and they said, what constitutes this 50 billion? And they found that the corruption of our leaders in Africa accounts for 13% of that money, 13% of 50 billion. Then that the underworld, the criminal underworld, trafficking in women, trafficking in drugs and trafficking in arms constitutes about 23%. About 66% of the money, 64% of the money was accounted for by multinationals. So, you know, one time I went to an event with Bill Gates. We were about 100 people and we were about 3 Africans in the room. And he was talking about he's helping Africa, how he's helping Africa. So I raised my hand, I kept raising my hand. And he kept on talking about the corruption of Nigeria's leadership, corruption in Nigeria, and in spite of that, he's helping Africa. So I kept raising my hand to ask him a question because I'm Nigerian, I'm in the room, you're talking about my country. So when he they asked me to speak, I was the last person. So I thanked him for the privilege, and this is where I'm going to close. I thanked him for the privilege of listening to him. I thanked him for his generosity to the continent, which I've tracked, as I'm sure all of us track this because it concerns us. It's our people, it's our home. I thanked him for that. Then I shared this result of the study that I just told you. I told him about that study. Then I told him, I said, look, this problem we're having on the continent in Africa is not a 10-year-old problem. It's not a 40-year-old problem. It's not even a 50-year-old problem. If you want to date Africa from independence, it's not even that from that point. No, it's not even a 100-year-old problem. If you wanted to date the problem from colonization, it's not even that. I told him it's a 400-year-old problem involving the extraction of wealth and the exploitation of a place. And it has been going on unrelentingly for 400 years. And I said to him, you know, it would be so great. You're giving us money, but you know, tomorrow you could change your mind. It's your money. You could decide that you want to help Asia and no one would blame you because it's your money. Where we would be better served is if you could help us so that Africa can capture more of its wealth that we're losing every year. Because 1.2 billion people should not be at the mercy of one man. And this is why what I want to leave you with today. I want to leave you with this challenge, that our continent's problems and your place in that ecosystem and how you manage all of those problems. You know, you could manage them. You could make, when there's no electricity, you could make sure you have a generator. When there's no water, you can sink the borehole. When your children aren't, the public school isn't good, you can put them in a private school. We can approach the problem in that way, or we can choose to actually challenge the root of the crisis on our continent. And we can do it. We can actually make an impact. The only thing we must do is to choose to challenge that together, because me, Hafsat, by myself, will not have an impact. But imagine that if we could even get 10 million women across the continent of Africa, speaking with one voice to the world about how we are human beings too, how our people deserve a future and have dignity that should be recognized and respected, and they have rights that should be recognized and respected. Who will stop us? And by the time we're done, what a gift we will be giving to not just each other, but to our home and to our children and to the future. They tell me that in the year 2100, Africa will have 50% of the world's population because the rest of the world isn't really reproducing its numbers, and we are. So we will have 50% of the world. So what I want to tell you today is that the reality of those people that will be in this world in 80 years, we won't meet any of them, will be long dead. But by the seeds that we plant today, we will shape their destiny. And I challenge you to rise to the challenge and meet the moment. Thank you.
Wow. Virtual round of applause. Someone says standing ovation. Whoop, whoop. That was powerful. Thank you so much, Hafsat. Thank you so much for that. We felt that one. Thank you. And with that, you're still hanging out with us for a little bit, correct? Oh, fantastic.
Definitely.
Okay. We appreciate that. So I'm going to go into the Q&A segment. Please put your questions in the chat. If you have any question for any of our panelists, if you have any question for Hafsat, please put them in the chat. I have a couple of questions I would like to address very quickly. Kate, Kate, you're still in the house, correct? Yes, I see Kate. Kate and Dr. Oni, there's a question here from an anonymous person, and the question is, few female friends and colleagues always say that women bosses are more difficult than their male counterpart. I would like to know how female bosses can deliberately help their line reports to achieve their goals in the workplace. That question is for Kate and Dr. Oni, and anybody from the panel.
Female bosses. Yeah, I don't have
Yes.
female boss. So.
Gang.
I don't have female boss. I'm my own boss. But if you're talking about women being supportive, oh, by the way, Hafsat, I was almost crying when you finished talking. It went to my marrow, and it spoke to all the things I want to be about and continue to be about, that it cannot just be you alone. You need a tribe. You need a community. We can only do it together. That it's okay for me. Buying fuel at 212 Naira doesn't mean it's okay for the woman out there on the streets. It's not okay. It's not okay to keep quiet just because you're comfortable. It's something that we need to challenge ourselves and drop the trappings and think of the people that are going to be left there. I'm going away, but have
No,
that.
it's okay. It's all of
my
them.
leg, my hand, my shoulder, my muzzle flexing for you. Okay, so women making it, should I say, easy or comfortable for other women in the same space as them is very important. One person I'll use is Moabudu. She's doing a lot in the entertainment industry. Mildred Okwo, Ego Boyo, they always try to lift up other women, bring you in on projects, bring you into support, celebrate you and tell you that you are important, carry you along. It's very important because no man is an island. And for you to say that, oh, if you're in the office space, for example, I'm going to show this girl, you have a daughter, you have a sister. How would it be like if someone else did the same thing you're doing to someone else in another space? You cannot go there and fight for them. When I was running for office in politics, so for me, I've always wanted to try different things so I can have varied amount of information, experiences, because whether we like it or not, they all come to bear in some part of our life as we get older. You have some experience because no knowledge is lost. I won't mention her name. She didn't support me. And this is someone I looked up to so much in the political scene. But it's okay. I learned, to just say, okay, she's not for me. I will move on and do other things. But it is so true that sometimes women pay lip service to this supporting stuff. There's so much angst, jealousy. Why? We're of the same breed. The reason why the men always find a divide in our ranks is because sometimes we do not all the time stand together. The men, they can quarrel, drink beer in the beer parlor, high five, they've moved on. Women, we hold it to the chest. We hold it to the weave on. We hold it to the shoe. We hold it to the bag. No, let's drop that. We have daughters that we have to teach to be better, to do better, and to learn to stand as sisters. One of the things that Hafsat did was the Kudirat Initiative for Democracy. And we did stage plays, the Vagina Monologues. It bound us together, women coming to talk about themselves, their body parts, owning who they are, not being ashamed to call the vagina what it is, not saying that place. Because when a child is molested or raped, they're going to want to be silent because you've made them ashamed of their body. Made them ashamed that, and then they're not going to be able to speak when the man says, shut up, or I'll expose you, I'll kill you. If you notice, the first thing that happens to a woman when she's being molested outside, they tear her bra, tear her clothes. The first thing they do is strip you naked to make you feel vulnerable. That's what they do, to tear you apart. But if we stand together, if there's a woman in that place, in any place, and you speak out and say, this is not right, let's learn to love and care for each other. We'll be much stronger, much better, much more able to be able to contribute and achieve our full potential. Beautiful.
Wow. Someone said, well said, Kate. That's the root cause that needs to be cleansed first. Mary is clapping. A lot of people are cheering on. Thank you so much, Auntie Kate says, Emily, this is the blunt truth.
It is.
Yes. Dr. Oni, I'm going to rephrase that question for you. Thank you so much, Atinuke Adeyemi, for simplifying the question we're trying to ask on behalf of the anonymous attendee. How do you manage a female boss who may not be supportive?
Well, it's true, actually, to some extent, just like Kate said, it's true. Most times you find that women don't support other women. In my own career, I've had support from women though, but for students and relationship with their female academics, it's always a tough one. They feel that women are not accessible. So most of our female students would rather go to the male ones rather than coming to us. But being a 21st century lecturer, we are trying to change that narrative. Some of my friends and I, we came up together and decided that we need to bring our girls closer to us. So it's a deliberate, it's going to be a deliberate thing. We have to be conscious of this narrative going out there, okay? Because I was at a function and, I heard that. I didn't believe that initially because I didn't have that experience while I was a student. I didn't experience any female academic trying to boss me around or anything. Even as a staff, nobody tried to put me down. So it was strange for me, but I know that people say that a lot. So when I heard students saying it, that female lecturers are not accessible, they are this, they are that, I discussed with my friends, the females in academics, and I said, look, we must change this narrative. We must bring the girls closer. We must not crucify them. Okay, when you see a girl wearing what we call bomb shorts, don't wait then, the way a female will look at you, but the men will say, wow, this is good, so, but you can correct, not that you won't correct, but don't crucify them. Let us bring them closer. We have identified this now, just like you have mentioned, that it's a problem, it's a major problem, and we need to be intentional about solving it. So that's what I've decided to do a long time ago, and a couple of my friends too were doing that. We're bringing our girls together. In fact, in February, we organized a Valentine program, which we called Hanging Out with Dr. Richie. So we brought the girls together with their lecturers, So feel free with the girls, feel free with women. Okay, and Katie said something. It's not always that women would support women. If you're not up to the task, okay, correct when necessary. Let's say, okay, I think you don't measure up, okay? Not that we say women for women, but we should not jettison qualification. If somebody is not right, for me, I don't want I do not like the fact that people say women should be deputies. No, if we can be the principal, why not? So if you go to a woman and she says she's not supporting you, don't say because, okay, let us encourage one another and let's be truthful. That's what I think. We should be truthful with one another. Don't say because I'm a woman, okay, you need to pity me. No, I don't want to be beggarly about anything. I want to take charge because I'm a leader. I don't want you to pity me because I'm a woman, okay? But let's be truthful to ourselves. Okay, and move on. Let's take charge. Encourage women where you need to, mentor them where you need to, but don't jettison qualification for gender issues.
Thank you so much. Some people echoed some things you were saying. Don't crucify. Don't crucify. Thank you, Dr. Oni, for also helping rally, other women, because sometimes we just may not know, I have a question as we try to wrap up this session. Okay. And this one I would like, because... Who?
Betty.
Oh, Auntie Betty, please go. Oh, you wanted to add to that. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so my foray into journalism was quite accidental. I graduated with English and I really had no ambition. I just wanted to work and earn a pay. And then I had met Dr. Doyin Abiola at the United States Information Center. And I walked up to her and I said, for those who may not know Dr. Doyin Abiola, she was the managing director of the Concord Press. And I was a feature writer there. But I didn't plan to go into journalism until I had 2 minutes meeting with her. And she took me in, she mentored me. And when I started my own magazine, she was there for me, always asking after me and pointing me in the right direction. For me, women have always come through for me. And I really appreciate that. Am I a good boss to my staff? There have been instances where I felt I could do better. But what I realized that after my battle with depression, I understood why I needed to show more empathy to my staff. So what I would have reacted to in the past, like, why are you sleeping at 11 a.m.? I now came up with a different approach because I knew when I went through depression, all the things that happened to me. From that, I was able now to be more compassionate, to show more empathy towards my staff. I think also when we're talking about this narrative, we should also talk about the progress that we have made. And I think also because we're mothers and nurturers, sometimes the way we scold our children, we now take it to the workplace. So it's something we do out of love. But I just think maybe we should play it down as well. But most of the time, women have been there for me, and I try to be there for other people.
Oh, thank you so much. And thanks for being able to actually recognize, hey, do an assessment. Have I necessarily been always good? What can I improve on? Thank you so much. And congratulations on overcoming that little hurdle. I don't want to say little to minimize it or anything, but you overcame it and you're sharing and shining the light. We appreciate that. Mabel Onyawusi, sorry if I butchered your name. Mabel Onyawusi is asking a question. How do you overcome an imposter mindset that hinders you from taking the center stage in creating impact? I would like Hafsat, Sholakbe, and Kate to answer this question, please. How do you overcome an imposter mindset that hinders you from taking the center stage in creating impact? Imposter mindset. Yes,
I think
go
the
ahead.
imposter mindset, we all have it, because you always second guess yourself, especially women. I think that maybe you need to have mentors and coaches, and actually it can even be, and you just even have to have a team of people that you use to prep for things, that the big things you want to do. For my mom, the people she used to prep were our children. Before she would go and give a talk, she would prepare, we would act as if we were the people she's going to give the talk to. She will present it, we will advise, I don't know if we were the best people to be giving, because what did we know? So maybe you might want to actually enlist really authentic, really dynamic people who are in the world. Go beyond your family and really get very powerful women around you to listen. And then another thing that was very important for me is I always look for mentors. I was raised in a polygamous home, and there's something about when something is familiar to you, you try to, unconsciously, you just try to replicate it. So I didn't want to replicate that in my life. So I got a mentor who had a different kind of marriage, and I just used to study her. Used to study how she and her husband did things, because I wanted to have those expectations going into that life for myself. But I think you can always get mentors also in the workplace. There's a program that Women in Africa runs where we get Deloitte to mentor women, and they have a year-long program for mentoring women, and they pair women with aspiring earlier growth in the career women with more established women. If you would like to apply for that, I'll put my email in the chat, then we can send you information. And also we're going to look for another way to offer that program, because the program is only offered to about 50 people every year. That's ridiculous. So we're expanding beyond that through other channels. So I'll just put my email so that if you want to be mentored, we can look for mentors for you and take you through the program. But be active about, the more you're prepared, the better you can manage your imposter syndrome. If you're not prepared, your imposter syndrome will feel like it will sabotage you. This sense of not being enough, not being impressive enough, not being qualified enough. It's not a big deal if you use it as a motivation to prepare. But if you just do nothing about it, it would leave you in a bad way when you face major challenges.
Thank you so much, Hafsat. Shalakwe, Kate?
Yes, in addition to that, I was going to mention that imposter syndrome, I don't think it ever goes away. Recently, I think it was, some senior lady that I so much respect who got an appointment, and she came out to say that for the first 2 days that the announcement was made, her head was just woozy, and she was thinking, okay, someone will call me and say it's a mistake, we made a mistake somewhere, right? So it never really goes away. But however, here's the positive thing. It's an indication of growth, right? You don't feel an imposter syndrome in your comfort zone when you're not growing, when you're not advancing, right? It's an indication of growth, and so you should embrace it first. But as Hafsat has said, embrace it and stay true to your core, right? When you're staying true to your core, so we're not saying that don't go into uncharted territories. That's what she had said. That's what we are here for. Go into the world. Someone had said go global, right? But stay true to your core. You know what your values are, right? Stick to them, the right values, okay? And keep reassessing things. And you find out that, you look back and be like, wait, how did I move from point A, to point B? So embrace it and never think that, because if you want to grow, you stretch, you get to another point, you start feeling like, okay, maybe I should have, I cannot do it. Am I faking it? Am I really making it? It's continuous, but just keep checking, stay true to your core, and make sure that you are also equipped for wherever you want to get to. It helps, it make it easier. You can easily shake it off and say, girl, you got this, and then you've really got it.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Shalakwe. Well said. Kate, I think you wanted to answer that, but do you mind if I quickly switch it for you?
No, see, those two speakers, they've dealt with it. Move on, please. Thank you so much.
Oyinye wants to ask you, Kate. Now, I'm actually directing the question to you from Oyinye Oka. So the issue of tribalism in our nation, which we all know is one of our biggest problems. How have you been able to overcome it? And what advice do you have for fighting it?
Tribalism. I didn't grow up in a tribalized Nigeria. Maybe I didn't see it. I mean, I was born in Lagos, went to school in Calabar, secondary school. I served in Bauchi in the north during my NYSC 93. So, and I could move around very freely. I worked at the Bauchi State Hospital. There was no issues. I mean, it wasn't this, but I mean, I have friends who are from the north, and you could move around freely back then to any part of the country. I think it's a weapon that leaders have used to cause a divide and rule syndrome amongst all of us. So they pit us against each other. I believe that we shouldn't hate each other. We are all human beings. First and foremost, if you think of the next person as human, just like you, flesh and blood, feeling hurts, feeling pain. Oh, Wilo camp, yeah, somebody's there, yeah. Wilo camp was a camp, yeah, Then you wouldn't think that the person hates you. All this, the North this, the South this, the Igbos this, because we have allowed the politicians, which is why everybody must have an ear, either inside your leg, your body, your hand, your toes, somewhere around there. We cannot keep taking the back seat, because by the time these people get there, they're going to do certain things, work devices that will favor them. It's never about the people. So you don't go out hating a Hausa person. Like Nelson Mandela said, nobody is born hating anyone. it's something that is conditioned. It's something that is told to you over time that, this person doesn't like you. This person, because you are a nyamri, he thinks you are evil. No, this is something that we all have to be intentional about. Stand against tribalism. It's such a hateful thing. Religion, tribalism, all those negative stuff that society has sort of brought to the fore because we have let it simmer for so long. So I'm totally against it. I don't hate anyone because they speak a different language to me. God that created all of us with different languages, he knew what he was doing all across the world. English, some countries say they don't even speak English. They refuse to speak English. They like the French. They will pretend as if they don't hear English, but they speak it very well. The Germans, so many of them. So why should we hate ourselves? We're not the only ones that are multicultural. We're not the only country that is multicultural. The UK is multicultural. America is multicultural. Germany, Holland, multicultural. So why is our own different? Because we have allowed it cause that divide. And things are getting worse. And whether we like it or not, we need to get back to the foundation. We are human beings. We are brother and sister. We are flesh and blood. And we need to keep pushing this narrative. And one thing that happened during the EndSARS was this. We had Christians standing, protecting the Muslims when they were praying. Everybody stood on Sunday. It was togetherness. It was togetherness. We need to get back to that place.
Thank you so much, Kate. That was powerful and profound. Thank you for sharing that. Are you going to run again?
Money in Nigeria politics. Money.
Kate, that's why we should all come together. We should raise the money for you.
Yes. I was on a radio show yesterday with Sandra on Nigeria Info, and we were talking. There's this set of women, elect her. They're trying to raise a 10 billion naira fund to support women who are running for House of Assembly across the country, federal, Senate, asking women to apply. I think it's called Elect Her. They're on Twitter and they have a website, which I think it's important because they said we do need a village. We need to come together as women. But it's money. It's money. We also, apart from money, we need to get into the party leadership because we're just not satisfied anymore with the tokenism of woman leader.
Yes.
Women affairs minister. Women this, women. What's wrong with female governor? What's wrong with female president? Why are we always under the armpit, on this side? We're together. And I always say this, when God took the woman, I'm sorry for the Muslims, no vex. When God took the woman out of man, it wasn't from here or under his feet, it's from his side. Side by side, together, we can make our world better. C'est la vie.
Kate for president.
Joe,
Genevieve magazine is in the house. I think we should do a print and put that one out there.
Genevieve magazine has always been about women from day one.
Yes, absolutely. Kudos to her. On a lighter note, as we wrap up, Atinuke Adeyemi had a question for you, Hafsat. What was Bill Gates' answer to you?
Oh, that's such a great question, Atinuke.
What did he say, please?
He responded really well. He said that there's something called the digitization of financial flows. Bitcoin is part of that. It would allow us to know how money is moving anywhere in the world. You would be able to know everything about how all the money in the world is moving. And once we have that, then we start to know exactly which companies are moving the monies out of Africa. Then that allows us to get accountability. But you see, the thing is, when you think about money, you're also thinking about power. You see, yes, it's one thing for us to know how the money is moving. Doesn't mean we're going to be able to change it. Unless we have that 10 million women across Africa demanding that Africa's money not be moved out. It's not enough just because we know, because, like now there's Freedom of the Information Act in many countries, but it doesn't really bring change unless it's backed by a kind of force. That's what the civil rights movement was. I mean, there was this woman, Ida B. Wells. She was a journalist like Auntie Betty. And as a journalist, she documented the killing, the lynching of Black people. But without the civil rights movement, we couldn't get the Civil Rights Act that has allowed Black people in America to be without danger. But we know that they're still in danger. There is still an ongoing battle, but at least to be more safe than they used to be. Because before, the white people used to gather and just lynch them on a Sunday as part of a picnic. So, we need to have that movement. We need to come together. When we come together, we can support people like Kate running for office. We can support causes that we believe in. So we shouldn't be individual women anymore. And our elders, not our mother's generation, they were better than we are. But the generation even before them, they were always together. They had all these associations. We don't really have that anymore. We should go back to that. Let's be together. Then when we're together, we have power.
I love that. I love that. Ladies,
Yes.
how can we be reached on social media? Could you all please share? Felucia, we didn't lose you, did we? I asked Felucia a bunch of questions at the beginning, and can we get your social media handles? I want to say put your phone number in there, but I don't think y'all would do that. But how? Hafsat, you said you would share your
She did.
an email
She
address.
shared it.
Oh, great.
It.
I hope everybody got that. I see Sholakpe Akinpelu is that Instagram and Twitter?
Yes, that's correct. Instagram.
Okay, great. Yeah. These are very powerful women. Please, if you want more info, go learn from them. Felucia G on Instagram. Betty Rabo.
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Betty.
Awesome. I know Kate always has the 8 in her name. Very unique. Any other one is a counterfeit, Abby?
Benny.
Thank you so much. This was such a great session. Thank you all so much. We'll be having round 2 in just a bit. We'll take a very quick break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.